Hey, how's everybody doing? Jeremy Langlois coming to you from Houmas House Estate and Gardens. And today we are going to be cooking our Eggplant Napoleon dish here. And that's because of you guys. It's like one of those TV shows. Because you demanded it, here we are. We're going to be cooking one of our signature dishes here. And thank you so much for that. We love the comments you have and liking our videos, sharing our videos, and all the comments and the feedback that we get from you guys. We just appreciate y'all so much. So great to be live. We're live right now. I got my friend Jesse behind the camera here. So at any point, if you got any questions, please don't hesitate to drop a comment, which we're watching. And if we're able to, we're happy to answer those questions on air. And so we're going to be cooking our Eggplant Napoleon dish. Now, this is a dish that has just become one of these things. If you've dined here at Houmas House, we sell this dish more than any other dish on our property. And it's a very simple dish. It's some fried eggplant medallions. We make this nice, rich saffron cream sauce with some jumbo lump crab meat, and then we just layer it all together. We call it Eggplant Napoleon based on the classic dish, the Napoleon, which is layered pastry. Anytime chefs layer something, oftentimes they'll call a thing a Napoleon. And that's what we got here. And so we call it Eggplant Napoleon, just have a little fun with it. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So what I got here is I got a hot skillet, got a little bit of oil in it, and we're just gonna you're gonna see how simple this is. Very simple. We're gonna make a nice, very basic cream sauce, and the first thing we're gonna do is just start sauteing a little bit of diced red onions. So got some red onions just starting to sweat, just means we're gonna cook them very quickly just to get a little bit of color on it. And what we're going to do is, this is a sauce that could be made ahead of time. In fact, in our restaurant, we make 5 gallons of this sauce at a time, and because we go through so much of it, but this could be made ahead of time, and then right before you go to serve it for your dinner, you could heat the sauce up, add your crab meat to it just to warm that crab meat up, and you are ready to go. But our shallots here, this is all real time. Our chopped shallots are starting to cook. Got a little bit of chopped garlic. We're going to throw that in. And just let that start to saute just a little bit. And then into the pot, let me get a little spoon here. Into this pan, we're going to add just a little bit of white wine. This happens to be some Pinot Grigio, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc. Any of those wines are great. My suggestion whenever it comes to wine and cooking is, quality ingredients are always important, so you wouldn't want to just have some wine that you would maybe not drink at home, a la some of these cooking wines. But if it's a wine that you like drinking, it doesn't have to be no expensive bottle either, but just a little wine is always great. And what we're looking to do now is just bring that up to a boil and let this to start to reduce. I'm also going to add some heavy cream. One thing that we absolutely love doing here at Houmas House is supporting our local farmers. In fact, my chef, Bryce Silvio, one of our chefs here, he's like our farmer's market liaison, and he is at the farmer's market every week, the Baton Rouge downtown farmer's market, and he shows up with his pickup truck and 3 ice chests every week, and we have deals worked out with all the farmers where it's great. We go behind their little booths and they load us up. We love supporting all of our local farmers. Well, one of the farmers that we've really developed a great relationship with is a shout out to Feliciana's Best Creamery. That's the cream that we're using right here. We love their milk, dairy, and butter. It's really fantastic. Even whenever you taste the dairy, call me crazy, but when you drink the milk, you can literally taste a subtle hint of the grass that the cows eat on. It just has this great full body flavor. It's a great expression of what you think dairy should taste like. So we love being able to support these local farmers. So a little bit of cream goes in. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start to let this just simmer away, bubble, and cook down. Anytime I'm reducing something, you'll notice I'm using a skillet instead of a pot. The reason I'm doing that is I like the surface area of a skillet. It spreads out my liquid a little bit more than, say, a pot, which would make it stand taller. And by having this surface area, it allows this mixture just to reduce a little bit faster. You do have to watch it, though. As it starts to simmer, it can potentially start to bubble up and boil over your pot, and just not the end of the world, but it does make a mess. So we don't want that. But what we want to do is just let this cook down, and what that's going to do is start to thicken. While that's cooking, we want to start this is where we're going to introduce our saffron cream sauce is what we're making. So now we're looking to introduce the saffron and some flavor. So let's take a second to talk about saffron. We get saffron in 1 ounce containers. We get them in pouches. Well, and this is what it looks like. And what is saffron? Why do we use it? And all that stuff. I'm going to add 1 pinch of saffron into this. And saffron are these little red threads, and they're actually the stymus of the crocus flower. And if you remember in your, for me it was 7th grade life sciences, whenever you have a flower, you have the pistil and the stymus. And the stymus is just the little threads from this flower that you find all throughout Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, French, Spanish cuisine. Saffron plays a great role in it. And it's because we take those little threads, we put them in a liquid, and it steeps in. It has a nice subtle flavor. It also is going to produce this really beautiful, I don't know if you can see it on camera here, but already you'll notice it's almost as if I put yellow food coloring into this. The saffron itself turns everything it cooks a really beautiful bright yellow. So from a presentation part, we always like that color, but it's also about the flavor. I'm also going to throw 1 bay leaf in as well. And what both of these do, just like making tea, we're looking to steep that flavor into the liquid. So we're going to get a great flavor, and we're going to get from the saffron and the bay leaf. Also, another thing about saffron, we only put a pinch in. It's very strong. Also, saffron is one of the most expensive spices known to man. Pound for pound, a pound of saffron costs about the same as about a pound of gold. And so we don't want to use that much, but whenever we buy it in these 1 ounce tins, it can be pretty expensive, but often in stores, I've seen a lot of specialty stores, whether it's Whole Foods or locally other stores, they sell little envelopes. And it doesn't cost that much because you don't use that much when you're cooking it. So everybody with me on that? We got our cream sauce. It's starting to reduce. It's actually starting to thicken up a little bit. It's doing exactly what we want to do. So now what I want to do is I want to come back over and let's talk about eggplant. We're going to fry some eggplant. We've got some nice, beautiful eggplant here. What I've done is literally just taken the eggplant, peeled it, and then cut it into medallions. About, what's that, half an inch? Half an inch to 3/4 of an inch thick medallions of eggplant. Up to you. Either way is fine. I like to take the skin off the eggplant because whenever I fry the eggplant, the batter adheres to the whole thing. If you would leave the skin on, you get the skin, but either way, and sometimes the skin can be a little tough to cut through, but it's totally edible. That's a choice you can make. But we have our eggplant. We've cut it into 3 medallions. Now let's talk about our breading that we're going to use to fry it. First of all, we're going to have a little egg wash that we're going to dip the eggplant in. So nothing more. I got a couple eggs here. I'm going to put a little splash of milk. Again, that's our Feliciana's Best Creamery milk. Just going to mix that up. Have that ready to go. And then, without making too much of a mess, and then what we're going to do is we also are going to, for a batter, we're using corn flour. What is corn flour? Well, whenever cornmeal is made, when they grind the cornmeal, whenever you take that dried corn and it gets ground, normally the coarse, it separates into 2 parts. You got the coarse grind, that's going to be your cornmeal. Then you have your more floury, powdered part, and that's going to be your corn flour. You could fry this in cornmeal and it'd be absolutely fine, but we happen to like corn. Well, you can fry it in cornmeal, but we happen to like corn flour because it's just a little bit lighter, but either way is fine. And then this is just some good old Creole seasoning mix, but you can do any mix, any kind of seasonings you want. You can have just salt, pepper, or maybe some granulated garlic. I actually like to take a whisk, and I'm just putting some of that, I'm just trying to keep it simple. I'm just taking some of that seasoning in with that corn flour and just mixing it around. What I like to do if I was going to prepare for a bunch of people, or even what we do in the restaurant, is anytime we mix the seasoning, I like to take one item and just fry it and taste it, and then that way I know if I need to adjust more seasoning or not, and that's going to be your preference. Once we have our cornmeal batter made, we have a little fryer here, and if you see, I don't know if you see this fryer I have here, I brought this fryer here today because I literally bought it to, shout out to my mom, Lurleen. This comes just from her house, and whereas we have these big industrial fryers that we have in our kitchens here at Houmas' house, this is something that is perfect at home. This, you can go to any store and just buy a very simple fryer that I can set to 350 degrees. Of course, you can do a pot with oil and a thermometer on your stovetop, but to me, it's a lot of work because you really have to manage your heat, whereas this, you can just set it your dial to 350 degrees, put your oil in, boom, you don't have to stress it no more. Now, 350 degrees, and now we're going to start frying. So now I'm going to take my medallions of eggplant. I like to go flour, egg wash, flour, fry. So that's what we're going to do here. Just a little bit of flour first, and that just puts a light dusting onto the eggplant. Then into my egg wash, and that first flour on there is going to help the rest stick. It's not going to be too heavy, and we're going to go right into the oil. So flour, egg wash, flour. So a little flour, egg wash, flour, and in. Again, oil set to 350 degrees. And one thing that is always important when you're deep frying is a couple things that, oh, I didn't double batter that. Hey, we're live, y'all. I got distracted here thinking about what I was going to say. That's an easy fix. Let's get that one out of here. Let's do another one. I just wanted to demo doing another one. Flour, egg wash, flour. So one thing whenever we do fry is we want to make sure that we're not overcrowding our fryer. Because we're trying to maintain that 350 degrees level. So if all of a sudden, let's say we were frying fish or shrimp, you could use all the same batter and seasoning. If we were to put a lot of food into this fryer, what's going to happen is you're going to drop the temperature of that fryer down. And whenever your temperature drops below 300 degrees, instead of having that nice crispy crust on the outside of whatever you're frying, the oil is actually going to start to absorb into the batter and make it real soggy. So we don't want that. So just don't overcrowd your fryer so it stays nice and hot. And look, that's not going to take that long to fry. We're going to just kind of move it around and let that fry. Just look, I like to flip the eggplant every 30 seconds or so just so it's frying evenly. We're just going to fry it to it's beautiful and golden brown, probably a total of about 3 minutes. So let's come back. So while that's frying, we don't even have to look at it. It's doing fine. Our sauce here has reduced enough to where, you know that old saying, does it coat the back of a spoon? Well, look, there we are, starting to coat the back of a spoon. So we're ready to add our crab meat and our final seasonings to this sauce. So what I like to do is just, while it's cooking, I'm going to start adding some green onions in. At this point, I actually like to remove the bay leaf, because that bay leaf itself, you're not going to eat the bay leaf. The saffron, all that's fine. You'll notice whenever I plate this, it has a nice, beautiful yellow color. All that's coming from that saffron that we have. So now what we want to do, now that this is starting to simmer, is look at this, y'all. We're going to start to add some of these beautiful jumbo lumps of crab. Now, anytime we're working with crab meat, if you guys out there know, crab is not cheap. You know, it's anywhere from $27 to $25 a pound. And what we want to do is be very delicate with it. So what I like to do is add the crab meat last second, just have this liquid barely simmering and just kind of lightly stir it, because the last thing I want to do is have the cream that's simmering away is to break up that crab meat, or just by fondling the crab meat too much, have that start to break up in lumps. Because a crab itself, the reason it's so expensive is one crab only gets 2 lumps out of it. So one crab only gets you 2 of these. So that's why you imagine how many crabs it takes to make a whole pound of crab meat. So we want to keep it real delicate. If you wanted to, you can add anything to this. This is a point you could have added shrimp. You can add crawfish. You can add any other seafood or protein that you would like. But us, how we serve it at the restaurant, we love working with that beautiful jumbo lump crab meat. So that's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Let's come back to our eggplant here. Starting to fry up good. I'm going to start to remove it out. We're going to bring it onto a plate with some towels just to dab it off. And now we are ready to assemble our eggplant Napoleon. Let's just flip that. And again, man, whenever you have that nice, beautiful, clean oil, and you don't overcrowd your fryer, you get just a really nice, light, crispy crust, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now let's go ahead and build this bad boy up. So what we do is I like to start with the thickest, heaviest I look at my eggplant and say, okay, this one's a little bit bigger. That's going to be our base. We're going to go put that down, then add a nice scoop of this crab meat with a lot of that sauce just running off the sides, right on top. Then I grab my next biggest one. We're building us a tower here. Put one right on top there. And then come back, one more scoop of that crab meat. And then, of course, finish it off with our final piece of eggplant. We at the restaurant, just for stability, we like to put a little skewer in there just to have the whole thing hold together. And that's it, y'all. We serve this with some vegetables, but, you know, whenever you're doing it at home, feel free to serve it however you would like. But there you have it, guys, our Eggplant Napoleon from Houmas House. So great to have y'all here with us today. Look forward to seeing y'all soon. Y'all come on out to Houmas House if you're not nearby. Drop us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you got any questions, leave them in the comments as well. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.